Hey everyone, it's David here. Today we're going to be speaking about something very important. Something that is neglected by many designers and artists alike from all levels of experience. When I'm asked to evaluate some portfolio, this is the first thing that really jumps to the eye. In fact, it's so important that it's even mentioned in the Bible, and not just mentioned in the Bible, it starts the Bible with it. The book of Genesis, chapter 1, Verse 4, and God separated the light from the darkness. If you still haven't guessed it, today we're gonna be speaking about the power of the silhouette. So let's begin. In order for people to enjoy your designs, they need to be simple yet interesting. And the reason for this is because art and design evoke emotion, and otherwise, if our audience don't feel connected in any emotional way to our designs, they're just gonna skip to the next thing that makes them feel something. We don't want this, we want them to stick with us. And before we go over the things that make a good silhouette, let's first understand what makes a bad silhouette. So as we already established, bad silhouettes don't evoke any emotion. They are boring and they have no character. They don't tell any story. Sometimes they have too little or too much information, and it really bothers the eye instead of being an eye candy. So there we have it, a simple rectangle. It has no character, it tells no story, boring piece of. A good silhouette will have an interesting form, something that triggers your imagination and immediately makes you feel something towards it. Good silhouette will have a point of interest and a point where the eyes can rest on. And this is very important. This is the secret sauce. Starting with a clear silhouette ensures that even when it's scaled down, it still remains readable, recognizable, and impactful. And of course, lastly, it is your anchor. It really helps you focus on the core concept of the design. It can be sword, it can be potion, it can be character, it can be a layout for the website that you're building. It doesn't matter, the subject is irrelevant. It's about capturing the essence in one powerful shape. The first thing that you can do with your designs is simply rotate them a little bit. Suddenly, it already tells you something, okay? Let's continue. I will just create a mask. Now, let's erase some part of it with the mask and make an interesting shape out of it. Okay, here as well. So now it's not a rectangle anymore, right? It looks a little bit like a wooden plank. Simple yet interesting. Good silhouettes rarely have straight lines like this. You see how suddenly this straight line irritates even the eye. Let's remove it. Let's have this line here also with some kind of interesting deformation like this. Much better. Now, what about this one? Well, I think first of all, we can also remove the corners, or at least some of the corners. Definitely better than what it was before. Now, let's go see the previous one again. Nothing. And suddenly, a story. Now, let's take this plank and play with it a little more. Let's rotate it and change some parameters of it, duplicate it as well. And for this video I'm really using the basic shortcuts, so simple Ctrl T for transform and Alt Shift and backspace to color elements in white or black in the mask, but really nothing else. We have two wooden planks here. Let's have another one and put it in the back, and it's gonna be this pole. Here again, you have a little story, but you can make it better with very little adjustment. So let's just rotate them a little bit. This one goes here and this one goes to the other direction, and maybe even a little bit off center, and they will even overlap a little bit just like that. It tells you a whole story of some kind of crossroads, intersection in your game. Okay, so now again, let's take this basic rectangle and create an interesting sword icon from it, because I previously said sword, so why not make a sword out of it? If so far you like the video and you like the content, then of course don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. And of course, if you are very generous, you also can comment something nice in the comments. I really appreciate your comments. It helps me see if this content is relevant, if it's interesting, and should I be creating more of it. And now let's see if really what I told you was true, right? Because if it doesn't prove any worth, maybe it's not really true. But don't worry, of course it is. So here we have a very basic blade shape. Okay, now let's duplicate this element here, create this middle section. Okay, again, duplicate, flip it, and another one like this here. Let's duplicate it again, flip vertically, and align it like this. This is only the beginning of the shape, right? Because this now is just like this one. It's a basic shape, so you can do whatever you want with it, but it's really that basic. It has nothing interesting in it yet. Now let's implement these same principles like what we did with these planks to this sword, right? And see what interesting elements we can do. First of all, let's rotate it a little bit to the left, this sword scene battle. So let's create some battle dance in this metal piece here as well. Something similar. This is a sword that's seen stuff. Again, the same thing with the corners here on this bottom part. Simple rectangle, of course, black, yes. And let's rotate it and create these bindings that you usually see on swords, like that. Maybe just a rounded element would be a better idea. Let's see. It definitely makes the design a little bit more interesting. And of course, you know, if you just go into it and start erasing parts and adding parts, like here for example, you can really create any kind of shape and style and whatever you want. And it is so simple, it's easy, and it's neglected by many designers, and I hope that you will not be part of them from this moment and until the end of times. So David, will I always be designing with silhouettes now? It depends if you want your designs to be good. At least do a few quick sketches first and then go to design, but not necessarily and not always. Once you do it enough, you will build a solid visual and mental library. Thank you for watching, and I see you in the next one. Bye bye.